Good morning, I'm Neeraj Chan. Thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup. Let's take stock of what the global news flow is because there's a lot that's happened post Friday market hours. First, India has forged a global biofuel alliance in a push towards net zero aim. The US EU have agreed on the Mideast India rail and shipping corridor at G20, and a diagram or a photograph of what that could be has been doing the rounds. It's a big, large global initiative and an important one at that. The markets may want to discount a lot of benefits today, but that notwithstanding, it's an important one. Italy's Meloni has met with China's Li as Italy's continued participation in the Belt and Road is in doubt, as per global media. Nvidia is going to partner with Reliance and Tata for a big AI play in India. By the way, amongst other things, also what's happened is that oil has dipped after technical signal that the rallies may have run too hot. So that's the other thing, a moving part from an India perspective, which is important. Now, remember, we had a good week, but the US markets also ended Friday. Dow, S&P, Nasdaq mildly positively. Nasdaq was the best, of course, 0.89%, but the Dow and the S&P too marginally in the green. Unfortunately, the other indicators, and if you look at the 10-year yield, or you look at volatility, etc., they all kind of stay elevated. They haven't come off. So bear that in mind. And which is why, I mean, for now, the GIFT Nifty may suggest a flattish start, but it's not quite the same lead indicator, by the way. You got to keep in mind. We may still start off flat, but I think we've been anything but flat in the last week, right? So it was a trending week with every sectoral market index ending in the green, led by PSUs. Quite a stark move in trade yesterday, relative to all the indecision that we've had in the previous few weeks. So there is a strong move that has happened. We might be marginally in the greed territory, but I doubt that we're really in extreme greed currently as well. Looking at the indicators, the rolls have the weekly expiry numbers as well. Didn't suggest too much of an alarm bell on any front whatsoever. The stop levels, as per the technical experts, are much lower for most experts, except in some of the small and mid cap indices. But they are doing what they are doing. The capital market related stocks may well come in flavor due to the recent optimism. So do watch out for that as well. Remember, we've hit the 10 crore accounts. There is an optimistic outtake there. And I was looking at some newsletters from a few people. Two of those newsletters had Angel One as a stock to monitor. So who knows? The capital market stocks might be in focus today or this week. And subscription to the recent engineering and manufacturing IPOs shows the flavor for that sector. You see what happened to Rishabh Instruments and one more on Friday when they when it was closed for subscription. But the kind of subscription that came into some of those stocks was just stunning, and it just tells you, the kind of participation that is happening. Yet this week, viewers, or yeah, we can move on to this plate. The good part for last week was that there was leadership that came in from other pockets. So Bank Nifty, which started to move, and it was not just HDFC Bank, which was the lone ranger on Thursday, but others. Coal India, Larsen and Toubro have all moved, which is actually a great sign. And I was looking at what is the kind of relative valuations that that sectors have to the MSCI India piece, right? So financials are actually a -1 standard deviation even now with the index at 19,900 odd. IT is largely in line. Consumer staples and autos are just about zero point 0.5 standard deviation. We know that Reliance has hardly made a move, right? The clutch of sectors out there, which, if the market wants to participate, can take the indices higher without it looking like there are alarm bells. So bear that in mind. There's a query that has come in about whether we can expect Nifty 20,200 or 20,000, as the case may be. Well, sort of looking at the technicals, it does seem that there is momentum in our favor. And with the kind of positive outcome that has come out of G20, you never know. Chris Wood, in a Bloomberg interview last week, mentioned about how India remains the market that he would want to be when it comes to Asia. There are others too, but India remains his favorite. We'll be talking to him, I think, next Monday. So that is important as to what's coming in from some of the global strategists as well as the fund managers. So, and remember, we've done this despite the flows not being great. I mean, we know that the yields have inched higher. We know that the currency is weakened or the dollar index has strengthened. And there was cumulatively about 8,000 crores of outflows. Despite that, we've actually made this 300, 400 point dash in the Nifty in the last week. Just shows you the inherent strength. And therefore, I doubt anybody can fundament or tell you with concrete belief that no, this is too much and we will correct, or no, this is too little and therefore we will move up. But just looking at the fact that we defended 19,300, something that Gautam Shah of Goldilocks had mentioned in an interview to us, something that CK Narayan wrote in a note to us, just bringing technicals into the picture, it does seem like that people are saying that there could be more in store. So I mean, 100 points, 120 points is, you know, a, a day's move, 0.5% can happen anytime, frankly. 20,000, I think now is just a number. Up ki bar Nifty 50,000, remember. That's note that I've written. So uh, not necessarily in the current rally, but the optimism is very, very strong. Anyways, coming back to what could happen. So the answer is yes. I think it could very well happen, but who knows? I do think that there is the construct laid for that, but it's a small number, really. 100 points doesn't matter. Stocks to watch in the session today in such a scenario. Well, price volume buzzers as far as Friday's session go. So Havells 6% higher. REC PFC, massive moves there on good volumes. Though the delivery percentages were a bit lower, but there is a damn capital note which at the end of the trade setup I will bring out and say what is it that they are saying is likely happening there. IRCTC was up 2.5%. Concor was up about 2.5% on good volumes. I'm bringing out the liquid names. A touch of mid cap and small caps would have been even higher, but I'm just bringing out the liquid names and why they. I mean, what's happened. Some of those. Then the newsmakers. So Sham Metallics have announced an OFS of up to 5.11% stake for 414 rupees a piece. That's lower than the current market price of 467, obviously. Um, Promoters will sell stake, will bring their stake down to 83%. Remember, promoters have to bring their stake down to below 75% by sometime next year. So there is still some selling that could happen, but it's a business that has done very well in the recent past. Maybe there's a technical pullback that could come in Sham, but certainly looks that the business momentum for Sham is very strong. This is a technical overhang that stays on the stock until they bring that stake down to 75%. But the business momentum looks very strong as they reading some of the notes, ICICI Securities, I believe, and some of the others. They all talk about some fairly strong earnings for Sham as well. Let's see. We'll try and talk to the management once this OFS is done to get a sense of what looks like in their business. So lots of things happening. Keep Sham in focus. I was reading a note from an advisor which has advised its clients to subscribe to the OFS as well in the book build process, I believe. So watch out for Sham. May not necessarily stay low, even if it goes down. Braj, BPCL, ethanol stocks, all of these would be in focus. The Global Biofuels Alliance has been launched with the support of 19 major consumer, producer, and interested countries. Remember, this is too soon to try and talk about what will happen. Right now, it's government to government. Then the industry will be brought into picture in a month and a half, whatever you call it. But the point being, the stage or the decks are being laid out for biofuel policy to succeed, and therefore the players within that would have more confidence to invest, would probably have more years in the global arena as well, and global companies in the Indian arena. So it works both ways. But I think this is a shot in the arm. I would reckon that some of these stocks stand a chance to react today as well. It would be wrong to try and think of the benefits accruing to these companies immediately. Fundamentally, it is wrong, but it's a market which is hungry for ideas, for news, and for reactions, and therefore reactions may well happen into these and into the railway and shipping stocks as well. India, Saudi Arabia, UAE, US, and select European countries have joined hands to do a large infrastructure deal. The potential rail and shipping corridor will enable greater trade amongst the countries. This, for a lot of people, is a counter to China's One Belt, One Road initiative. For a lot of people, it is also a laying out of a corridor which is a higher likelihood of success simply because it's not having amongst indebted nations alone. The limited point from a stock perspective is that it again sets the stage for some of these companies to have a larger global presence. Remember, company after company has spoken to us about global ambitions as well. In fact, we've done a conversation with Titagar Wagons or Titagar Rail Systems from their shop floor, which will be on BQ Prime either today or tomorrow. And it will show the global ambitions that promoters now have for these companies. So this is to be watched out for. I would reckon that some of these stocks could react today as well. Fundamentally, is there reason for them to react? No, the details are not known as yet. But like I said, it's a market that is hungry. And even if these are expensive names, you might well see a reaction today. IRCTC, the company will cater all coaches and trains booked on FTR as detected by the Ministry of Indian Railways. Watch out for IRCTC. Had a move, as I explained earlier in Friday's session, could well be in focus today. Phoenix Mills, the company is opened the Phoenix Mall of the Millennium at Wakad, Pune. The mall encompasses 12 lakh square feet of gross leasable space with entertainment zone covering 1 lakh square feet, an addition of 14 lakh square feet of modern offices. I don't know if it's 14 or 1.4, but be that as it may, but whatever the number, but addition of, let's say, 14 lakh square feet of modern offices and to start operations in FY25. So if this gets a good response and if the office space gets leased out well, then it's a shot in the arm for the stock. It's at 1841. Never know, there could be more in store. PRL Logistics, SBI Mutual Fund has bought about 19.29 lakh shares at 681 rupees a piece. Watch out for this one. Then Morgan Stanley on PB Fintech, largely the PB Fintech clarifications. Morgan Stanley maintains the world trading with the price target of 910. It says that the company clarified that it has no plans to become a direct insurer, no decision on reinsurance business as yet, and believes that the reinsurance market in India could be an interesting opportunity, unlike the crowded direct insurance market. Watch out for PB Fintech, had a move in Friday's session. This clarification, does it bring about a bit of a corrective move? Good. Then Macquarie came out with a note on Friday during market hours, but I'm bringing some of the updates today because people are looking for value. Macquarie is saying that stocks that are trading at a discount to their own 5-year average P multiples, rolling 2-year forward multiples, and where they have a price target upside. HDFC Bank, TCS, HPCL, ICICI Bank, Asian Paints, Tata Motors, HUL. So, well, watch out. There could be some bit of flavor into these stocks now that the market starts hunting for pockets which have not rallied thus far. Remember, that's the thing that we've been talking about all through the last 2 weeks. And we saw signs of that in L&T. We saw signs of that in Coal India. We're starting to see signs of that in HDFC Bank. Watch out for these pockets, even the oil marketing companies for that matter. So do watch out for that. Now, a lot of viewer queries. View on cement sector, especially Ambuja. Well, I can't talk on specific stocks, of course, especially Ambuja, which is an Adani Group company, because we are 49% owned by the Adani Group, by Adani Media Networks. But cement, well, logically speaking, Kevin, if infrastructure is going to be the bulwark of India capex over the next few months, naturally so cement benefits. Now, is there pricing discipline? Maybe no. Are they takers at much higher prices? Maybe not. But is the industry getting more and more consolidated? You can see that with the Sanghi deal and some of the other deals on offer, they're very likely so. And therefore, some of the larger players, never know, could benefit disproportionately in the times to come. So, yeah, do watch out for that. Any themes coming out of G20 meet? We just spoke about that earlier in the stocks to watch things, Sahil. I mean, uh, look at the biofuels, look at the infrastructure piece, and just I think one of the strongest themes coming out is India and the fanfare for India. A really strong move that should hold us in good stead, even as we are expensive. There's a large Bloomberg story on that same today as well. They quoted a bunch of global managers talking about how India seems to be the signature of multiple eyes. You on Orcon, again, can't talk about specific stocks, unfortunately, but Vinay, but almost everything related to this pocket is looking very, very solid. I would just urge that little bit of caution because last week we spoke to Samir Arora, we spoke to Ashwini Agarwal, and all of them had to say that this tape has played out multiple times in the past, wherein the markets think that nothing can go wrong, and it does. There was the same case with specialty chemicals, same case with IT. Everybody said the world is getting digitized. How can IT stocks correct? And then look at what happened to them, right? So just be a bit cautious on the valuations into some of these companies in this pocket. Uh, I don't unfortunately have a specific view on Arcon. I can't narrate a specific view on a specific stocks, right? It's just wrong. But I'm just saying that this pocket has got meat around it for sure. Can the stocks rally further? Surely they can. Are they expensive? In a lot of cases, they are. And just be a bit careful is the limited point. If you're making a fresh entry, please be very sure about your view and the time duration for which you are entering into some of these stocks. That's my limited request. But you know what? We'll talk about all of these things with an expert today at 10 a.m. on Talking Point. That's a flagship show where we try and talk about what some of the themes that are the current ones could be like. And Franklin Templeton's Ajay Argal joins in at 10 a.m. on Talking Point to talk about that. We will do a conversation on the Biofuels Alliance with Praj Industries. So Shishir Joshipura of Praj joins in at 10:30 a.m. We spoke to him last week, I know, but it's important because of what's happened to talk to him again. So join in for that conversation at 10:30 if you want to understand what the Global Biofuels Alliance could mean for India and for the companies operating in that sector as well. So that's the other thing. And a clutch of the standard conversations that we do, IPO does, the trade talks. We are going to be starting Ask BQ, wherein you can pose your queries as well. So a lot of queries that you're posing to me, you can also pose on that show. And my colleague Alex will be talking about it. So our small cap stocks showing signs of overheating. We'll be talking about that pocket in particular, but if there are individual queries, please go out and ask, and maybe Alex will be able to take some of those. So keep that at the back of your mind as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to the trade setup today. Have a great day ahead.